Are you serious? Are you serious? We've got information. I want to thank Stephen of Oklahoma. This information coming to us today. The British Navy is ready to launch its first strike on Syria. Britain is planning to join the forces with America and the French and launch a military action against Syria's President Assad within days in response to the gas attack believed to have been carried out by President Assad. Forces against his own people. The question is, did Assad really do this? I keep asking that question because it doesn't make sense. He did say he would use chemical weapons if backed in a corner and nowhere to go. And then he said, I'll send the weapons on Israel, which Israel hasn't done anything to him. But, so some people would think maybe the Muslim Brotherhood did it and are blaming him. You know what? There's so much lying and false propaganda in these wars that you don't know exactly. But anyway, I want to report to you, the Royal Navy vessels are being ready to take part in a possible series of cruise missile strikes alongside the United States as military commanders finalize a list of potential targets. Government sources said talks between Prime Minister and international leaders, including Barack Obama, would continue, but that any military action that was agreed could begin within the next week. Folks, it's going to happen very, very soon. It is going to happen. And Bible prophecy told you that Damascus will become this burden, the burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city. It shall be a ruinous heap. Well, as the preparations gathered the pace, William Hague, the foreign secretary, warned that the world could not stand by and allow Assad's regime to use chemical weapons against the Syrian people. Britain and the United States and their allies must show Mr. Assad that to perpetrate such an atrocity is to cross a line that the world will respond when that line is crossed. British forces now look likely to be drawn into the intervention in the Syrian crisis after months of deliberation and international disagreement over how to respond to the bloody 2-year civil war. The possibility of such intervention will provoke demands for Parliament to be recalled this week in, of course, England. And the escalation comes as a direct response to what the government is convinced was a gas attack perpetrated by Syrian forces on a civilian district of Damascus. The Assad regime has been under mounting pressure to allow the United Nations inspectors on the site to establish who was to blame for the atrocity. One international agency said it had counted at least 355 people dead and 3,600 injured in the attack with nerve damage and all types of horrific health ramifications. But other reports suggest as many as 1,300 could be dead. And I've even seen other reports that as high as 2,000 people died from the mass chemical attack. I don't know if Assad did it or not. But this does prove that chemical weapons of mass destruction were in Iraq in 2003 when President George W. Bush really brought a controversy in the world when he went after Saddam Hussein. And rumors were that the chemical weapons were smuggled out of Iraq into Syria. Assad finally confirmed that's where he got the weapons and said, I will use it if attacked. But has he used it on innocent people? Or did the Muslim Brotherhood do it? And are saying, look, Assad's guilty. I still personally believe the Muslim Brotherhood did it. But I'm reporting what's going on in the world. Now, Turkey has also said, I want to thank Penny of Virginia, but Turkey said now they'll join the coalition against Syria, according to their foreign minister. We always prioritize acting together with the international community, with the United Nations decisions, said the foreign minister of Turkey. Turkey would join any international coalition against Syria, even if a wider consensus on action cannot be reached at the UN Security Council. You can know this, the United Nations Security Council is not, I repeat, is not going to approve an attack on Assad's regime in Syria, because Russia and China will veto it without hesitation. And maybe they are right. Now, I'm also looking here that Joint Chief of Staff Dempsey, General Dempsey, has made some comments, and let me tell you what he's saying. Dempsey is General Martin Dempsey is the Chief of Staff. He says that right now Syria is on the radar. In a sit-down interview recorded by Yahoo News, Dempsey, the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, described the Syrian war as one that ebbs and flows, and said that although Assad may have superior weaponry and has made gains in urban areas, the advantage will not be enough to ultimately defeat the opposing rebels. I don't think that even where Assad was to take control of all the urban areas, that he would ever be able to completely reduce the opposition, especially folks in the southern part of Syria. What I'm hearing, can I tell you what I'm hearing? Do you remember the video I did about 10 days ago that Stephen of Oklahoma was able to acquire the 11-point Obama plan to divide Syria? Obama has a plan, it's an 11-point plan. His plan is to to take 5 nations, United States, Britain, France, I believe it was Australia, no, it was Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. And those 5 nations would fly in, use cruise missiles, would use aircraft to fly in and take the southern part of Syria from Assad, build a buffer zone, and create a new country called South Syria. And Assad would keep Damascus and the northern area and call it North Syria. Now, Obama, that is his 11-point plan. But of course, Russia, China, and Syria do not want anything to do with this plan. They want the Muslim Brotherhood defeated. Matter of fact, there is atrocities being committed by the freedom fighters, the rebels, the Muslim Brotherhood, as we're getting Catholic nun, a senior Mother Superior who actually founded the St. James Church there in Damascus. She's went into Aleppo. She's went over into Homs. She has seen the atrocities. The people there are mainly Christians being murdered, massacred. So she went in there herself, even though she's very elderly. She wanted to see who is doing this to the Christian people. Killing Catholics, killing Orthodox Christians, killing Coptic Christians, killing Pentecostals. I mean, are you serious? She wanted who's killing the brothers and sisters of Christ. When she got there, she found out it wasn't the Muslims that live in the area. It wasn't the Muslims. It was some bands of renegade, murdering thugs, massacring. While she was there, they beheaded 9 Christians. So, and none of this is being reported correctly in the news. It's all propaganda. Obama's been behind the Muslim Brotherhood, Arab Spring overtaking these nations since 2009 when he went to Cairo, Egypt, and gave that big speech in front of 200,000 people. I'm telling you, this thing stinks to high heaven. I got to have a cup of coffee, and let me tell you what I think is going to happen. The Bible tells you that Damascus is going to be in a world of trouble in Isaiah 17:1 and in Jeremiah 49:23 through 27. And here's how I see it playing out. The United States, the British, the French, the Turkey, Jordan maybe, Saudi Arabia maybe, they will, some of them will participate, especially United States, British, and the French will certainly go in, maybe with Turkey, and they will soften up Assad by doing selective strikes, blowing up parts of his air force, crippling his airports, blowing up his warehouses, blowing up anywhere and everywhere they suspect that there's missile installations, anywhere and everywhere there could be stockpiles of chemical weapons. They will not go after Assad personally or after his government. They'll leave that alone for now. They will soften him up with this attack. America will be condemned severely by Russia and China. After they soften him up, and that's going to happen within the next 7 days, 7 to 10 days, after that takes place, then you're going to see within about a week or two, there'll be some negotiations to allow for two separate nations. When Assad's regime says no, then here comes this 11-point plan, which is those nations I named, the 5 nations, United States, Britain, France, the United Arab Emirates, I believe Saudi Arabia, one of those two, I can't remember, and Jordan. They will fly in with sorties. They will take southern Syria. They will create a new capital. They will make a buffer zone. They will let Israel will then manage the entire airspace of that area to protect Israel from retaliations from Assad at Israel. And while Israel protects the sky, troops will be sent in, no American troops, but other troops will be sent in to establish with the Muslim Brotherhood South Syria, dividing that nation in half. You're going to see this play out over the next few months. And I don't know how in the world with that going on can there be a peace agreement that relates to Israel and Palestine. But I don't know, but I know that is in the works. They're going to try to do that separate from what's happening in Syria. But here's what could go wrong. Russia could stand up and say no and fire back, blowing a hole in southern Syria, maybe even involving other nations. And the next thing you know, we could have Psalms 83 war. We could have a Middle East conflict. We could have the beginnings of World War III. This is a dangerous, volatile situation that we're going to continue to keep a close eye on and bring you reports on daily until we see how this thing plays out. But obviously, I see the softening of Assad with a cruise of missiles attack right in Damascus, followed by a couple, 2-3 weeks later, the no-fly zone setting up the southern kingdom of South Syria. I'm Pastor Paul Begley. If you're not saved, give your life to Jesus Christ. You need to be saved. You're living in volatile times, certainly volatile times. Give your life to the Lord.